All right, you Marvel fanboys, you people that are subscribed to me, you need to listen to me. You need to listen to me right now. Right fucking now. When I say that Marvel Studios Eternals is one of the worst movies this year and the worst Marvel movie ever, I mean that Marvel Studios Eternals is one of the worst movies this year and the worst Marvel movie ever.
So that was a fucking lie.
Hey guys, welcome back to episode 41 of the Split Screen Media Podcast. This is kind of a strange intro because I don't really know who the co-host is this time. We have, I guess, our co-host extraordinaire for right now, Mr. Joey Baden. Thank you for being on the show again.
What up?
And our former disgraced co-host, Chris Blankenship.
Why was I disgraced?
You know what you did.
Sorry.
You've seen Suicide Squad, right?
You can see my apology video.
Can we just get a meme? It's like I'm you, but better with the
Oh yeah.
bloodshot, bloodsport.
Oh man, well, it's good to be back. It's good to be here with you guys. I'm really excited. We all saw Eternals over the weekend, and this has been quite the movie, not just amongst us, but on the internet. A lot of people have a lot of feelings about this. Currently, it is sitting as the lowest rated MCU movie of all time. I believe it was at 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it actually dropped today to 47. And it's just getting panned critically. And I went into this thing not expecting much. I was like, man, this must be kind of a bad movie. Like if Venom 2 gets a 65, like what does that mean for this? And I went in and well, I think we all have a lot of thoughts, but general thoughts, what did you guys think of this? We'll start with Joey.
I was gonna say I actually really liked it. I thought it was very stylized. It was a very beautiful movie. The sound was really good. Decent story. They were able to explain a lot of characters in a short amount of time. There could have been a little more development towards them, I think. But overall, considering the time they had for a bunch of characters that most people don't know or care about, I think that Chloe did a fantastic job.
You know, I agree. I love the story. I love the way the characters were introduced. I think I had kind of a bad movie theater experience, and I really want to rewatch this movie and give it like another fair shot, so to speak. Because this was my first movie that I watched in theaters since before COVID. This was my first one back, and it was not good.
And you get a bad experience, like never again.
Yeah, the experience wasn't good. The movie itself, I really enjoyed, and to say it's the worst MCU film is really, it's a disgrace because this movie is really good. It's not even the worst this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's truly not. Yeah, I mirror all your guys' thoughts exactly. I was really trying to piece together like why people were so upset at this film. And I think some of it is pretty justified. Like I saw some stuff and I was like, that didn't bother me as much, but I can see why maybe you didn't like it. And then some of the stuff is just, pretty out there, and we'll get into that a little bit too. Some bigotry, some things like that that have popped up on the internet. But yeah, overall, I thought this was real. Like it's not a masterpiece. It's not like a fantastic, life-changing MCU experience, but it's a good, solid movie with, I think, a lot of unique ideas, a lot of unique story beats to the MCU at least, and just overall a pretty solid heart. Like I thought it was, it was relatively well paced for being as long as it was. Maybe could have been cut down a little bit. Like there were some scenes in the jungle that we'll get into that I thought were like a little bit too long. But yeah, overall, I would go see this again. Honestly, I really enjoyed it that much.
Agreed.
For sure.
So I guess we don't have to get into well, now screw it. We'll just get into spoilers. I don't care. Spoilers for Eternals. I know a lot of people have kind of fallen out with the MCU. So I guess if you don't care to go see it, then you can just listen to us and we'll kind of give you a rundown of the plot. But essentially what's happened is that there are these beings called Eternals who were sent to Earth a long time ago to, like, I think it was 7,000 years ago from present day. And they were sent there to defeat these creatures called the Deviants. and they did so pretty swiftly, and then we're just waiting around for their next objective, or the ability to leave Earth and go home. And they're all being controlled by these things called celestials, and they are essentially these giant space dwelling creatures that are able to control life and matter at will. And the movie gets into more like why the Eternals are actually there, and who created the deviants and things like that. So it's kind of trying to be this like Lord of the Rings epic in a sense, like this thing that spans a large amount of time and a large amount of characters, and sort of this ultimate goal of trying to figure out why they're on Earth in the first place. I think if there were any complaints that I had, a lot of it was just character wise. I think this movie tries to do a lot, and it succeeds at a lot, but sometimes it feels like a little overstuffed and undercooked in the character department. I saw one review saying they wished it was just like 4 Eternals, and then you really got to know those 4 Eternals instead of trying to do like the 12 that are in this movie. But even so, I think they did a pretty good job of, rounding out most of them, but there are a few stragglers.
Most of this movie is just meeting and like gathering the Eternals. That's where I think some of the time could have been chopped down.
For sure.
Yeah. It feels like, I don't know, did you guys ever see It Chapter 2? Okay, well, it feels very similar to that. There's a moment, not nearly as bad because that movie fucking sucks, but there's a moment in that movie, or not even a moment, it's like the entire second act of that film where the characters split up to go find these pieces of like an artifact thing or whatever. And every time, and there's 6 or 7 characters, and it goes to one character, it shows them finding the thing, them having a memory about their childhood, and then Pennywise scares them. And that happens 7 times in a row, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Like, this isn't scary, this is like laughably bad. And while it's not nearly as egregious here, I would agree, Chris, that like it's like, all right, and now we're getting the next Eternal, and now we're getting the next Eternal, and the next Eternal, and you're like, well, this could have been chopped down a little bit.
I will say I did like that, at least with each of the introductory scenes for each one of them, they were fairly unique. It wasn't the same way to introduce every character. Like you get to see Thena and Gilgamesh like together cooking and stuff like that, or about to eat, or you got to see Sprite come in and immediately start doing a fight scene in the bar scene with her, or we never really get to see them meet Ajak. So she was kind of a mystery throughout the film. We don't know too much about her. And then even to the end, when the speedster's just chilling in the spaceship, because I was wondering that same thing. I was like, aren't they forgetting one? And then she was there. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And that, again, that might just be the overstuff problem. They're like, what are we going to do? If they're like, we'll just have her be in that spaceship for centuries. It's fine.
Yeah.
But there were
Did
a
you
lot.
guys have any other? I was gonna say, did you guys have any other problems with the movie?
Not a ton. I mean, it was pretty, I don't know what they could have done to make it like that much better to where I'd be like, holy shit, that was incredible. Because I think it's hard to do with this sort of story anyway. It seems like the Eternals are pretty hard to adapt as a comic story. But if I don't know, Joey, do you have any other like big complaints or even like smaller nitpicks?
I was like, my nitpicks are we're at full spoilers now, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I thought that the deviants the end was kind of unceremonious, and like the way that they built them up, they started adapting, they started gaining consciousness, and then they just kind of did nothing with it and died. It felt kind of unsatisfying. And I think we've all talked about this before, but Sprite's betrayal felt really kind of dumb and out of character for her to, they kept building her up to be like in love with Icarus. And I was like, maybe this is the reason she's deciding to switch, or maybe she's like going against love to like trick him. And she's like, nope, I'm just going to stab my friend. And you're like, what? Like, why would you do this? And it's like, oh, because I've been a kid forever and I'm tired of it. What?
Yeah. Sprite at the end of the movie wanting to be mortal is, I was like, you kind of had 7,000 years to figure this shit out. Like, I don't know.
Her leaving with Icarus, I was okay with. Like that made sense to me. I was like, okay, like the initial, like, I'm not gonna hurt you guys, but I'm gonna leave with him and I'm gonna go with him to see this through, like perform our objective that's, that the Celestials want us to do. But her stabbing, what's her name? The main
Cersei.
Cersei? Yeah.
Mm.
Her stabbing Cersei, I was like, that is so out of character. And there wasn't even a moment of like, oh, like they hadn't built up like, oh, I'm jealous of you because you got to be with Icarus for that long, or like secretly I've hated you this whole time. Like that wasn't even part of the plot. So like they were
Yeah.
clearly like met up with each other and they were good friends when they were all hanging out with Kit Harington. So it definitely felt out of place when she just like stabbed her in the back. I'm like, Sprite would not do this.
Yeah, like I said, it felt wrong. Like, if they had built it, I like the thing is, I don't even hate that she did it. I just wish they would have built for it to make it a little bit more make sense for a character. It's like they developed her the wrong way throughout the entire film to just go surprise. And then we got our boy, as CBS calls him, Durag, that just mollywops her right after, which is great.
Yeah, that was great. And then when the Asian guy with the giant fist like punches Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie down. I'm like, damn, that was brutal.
Yeah.
I think her like space madness subplot could have been fleshed out a little bit more. And again, I think that goes just to having like too many characters. Just not enough time to develop all, like, any one of these people could have had a solo movie or like something and it would have been interesting, but maybe just do it in specific groups. But this just felt like maybe trying to do a little bit too much at once.
So, Connor, since the movie was kind of long, would you have wanted this maybe split, like fleshed out more and split into two movies?
I would have been
Like,
okay with that for sure.
Two 2-hour movies.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I think they were just banking on this, or maybe not banking on this, making a lot of money. After seeing what happened with Black Widow and kind of what happened with Shang-Chi a little bit too, like they might be thinking we got to take like this new direction that we're going in clearly isn't working because people aren't coming out in droves like they used to our films. And this, I believe this is the lowest ranking Marvel movie in terms of how much money it's made, not only opening weekend, but continues to make. So we'll have to see if it ends up being even a mild success or not. But, they might have just been like, listen, we're going to push Eternals out the door. We're going to make them have their own complete movie. And then if it doesn't work out and we don't get a sequel, we can throw them in like a Doctor Strange movie, or we can put them on a TV show, or we can spread them out to different areas to continue their story without losing money on another Eternal sequel. And that's kind of what I think their minds were for this business plan.
So, two things. One, do you have the box office numbers?
I don't, but I can look it up.
Well, you look it up. I'm wondering if since they have like some bigger movies coming up, they were kind of like test driving a theater only movie with Eternals and seeing how like the reception would be of that and how much money they could make. Because they have Spider-Man coming up, Doctor Strange. I feel like there's another one.
I think Ant-Man 3 is after Doctor Strange, if I'm not mistaken. I think Quantumania is after that.
Yeah, I think like movies with established characters that are like people are probably a little bit more hyped for than this movie.
Yeah, I feel like they know they're going to make money on Spider-Man because whether or not you're fully up to date for the MCU like we are, or whether you're a casual fan, you're going to go watch Spider-Man because it's a Spider-Man movie,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most viewed trailer in history. Like, there's no way that movie doesn't do well.
Yeah, it's going to be, if I had to guess, it's going to be probably like Endgame levels of like viewership and money thrown at it.
Well, I said this on a previous podcast. I don't remember which one, but I was saying I think this is going to be like a Force Awakens type movie where it's going to be impossible to find seats. Like, I remember when Force Awakens came out, like there were show times that were just totally full, and they're like, the movie's closed. Like, we literally can't let you into this. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Spider-Man.
For sure. Buy your tickets now.
I was gonna say, can you pre-order yet, or Do you know
I
when
don't think it's that. I
like,
don't think pre-orders are up yet. It's still too early.
It depends. When I was working at the movie theater, we would usually for ours, we were kind of independently owned, so it was maybe 3 to 4 months in advance we would have showtimes. But it really just depends on where you're going. We actually looked up, I think AMC and Cinemark the other day, and they still don't have it yet. But I would be confident in saying that the movie theater I worked at probably does. So, check your local theaters. They might have something ready.
For sure.
But yeah, I have the numbers right here, Chris. Apparently, Eternals. It says Eternals debuted with 71 million at the U.S. box office, the worst opening for an MCU movie in 6 years. And I believe what they're referring to is the first Ant-Man movie, which also didn't perform very well.
And I think what's also hurting it too is the international market, right? Because then they get pulled due to some of its more inclusatory scenes.
Yeah, and we can talk about that too. I know you were saying a lot. There's been a lot of comments online about how this movie is quote unquote woke, and it's pushing diversity in a way that feels forced. And as someone who is not a fan of when diversity is forced into something, not when diversity is there, I think that's great, but when it's forced and it doesn't feel natural, I have to say I didn't get that vibe with this movie at all.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Like I felt like all the characters, like being a different race or a bit different background, different thing, felt natural. Like it felt like, like when the being created it would make sense to create a little bit of everything,
Yeah, no, you're trying to spread out to the universe as much as possible. Making different people would make sense
Yeah.
to them. And when, so Brian Tyree Henry right here, his character, when you run into him a little later in the film, he has a husband and a son, and it's not played for like, the characters don't go up and say, oh, so I see that you're gay now. And he goes, you have a problem with being gay? And then they go, oh, no problem here. Being gay is great. Like there's none of that, stupid pandery dialogue. It's just like he has a family. He's like, I need to protect my husband and my kid. Exactly how they would have it, the conversation if he was straight, which is what it should be. You should normalize things like that because it's not a big deal.
Okay, that's one of my favorite things about the film is that it didn't make it a big show or anything like that. It wasn't like forced. It was just a story that happened naturally. At no point does he even really mention husband or anything like that. The entire time he just says family. And I thought that was fantastic because you're right. It's like it didn't matter. His spouse didn't actually matter at all for the story in any way, shape, or form. It just so happened to be a guy, and that's all it was. It was like really, really well done, and I give Chloe Zhao a lot of props for that.
That's the opposite of forced inclusion.
Yeah,
I think he did mention like son a couple times, which I mean is fine as a parent.
Yeah.
The nice thing about this movie also was like the deaf Eternal and like the ASL stuff. They didn't really like she just had like normal conversations in sign language, and that was it. Like it wasn't like shoved down your throat or anything. It was like exactly how they would just be.
They also included it in her powers because she's like,
Yeah.
I can feel the vibrations of your voice before you start talking. So like, it's almost like when you lose, it's the Daredevil thing where you lose a sense and all of your senses become heightened. So it almost feels like when the Eternals were making her in order to give her these powers, like they had to take something away. So it lends to the lore a little bit as well. But I like that idea of her being like, I use this not as a disability, but as an advantage to when I'm fighting. But again, it's not like this is the stupid shit that you get in other movies where it's like, oh, you deaf? Well, you can't hear what's going on also because you're a woman. Like there's there's none of that dumb shit.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense in her lore as well because her character is supposed to go as fast as the speed of sound, and I think it's a big reason why her ears don't work as well, so her eardrums don't pop every time she uses her powers. So that it works in character, and I really liked as well that the only time you hear her attempt to vocalize is when Durag gets like hit with the laser beam and she thinks that he died. And that's the only time you hear her like try and talk, and it was like so emotional to hear her like try and talk, even though we all know that she couldn't.
Yeah.
It really added to the emotion of that scene. And another thing I'll give major props for in this is I feel like all the relationships in this movie were really well done. They had multiple different relationships. They had kind of like a caretaker patient with Gilgamesh and Thena. They had I'm gonna forget the Speedster's name that we were just talking about. I can't think of her name.
I can't either. I want to say Artemis, but that's not right.
No, yeah. It's okay. But her and Durag clearly had feelings for each other, but stayed separate from each other because they both wanted to do their own thing, basically, but cared for each other. You had the gay relationship with Thestius. That's his name, Thestius.
I think so. Yeah.
Um,
He might
you
have
had
been my
kind of like
favorite
the
character.
buddy relationship with Nimbo and his guy, like even Ajak and Icarus had like a mentor-mentee relationship. We didn't really get to see too much of it, but there was an implied mentor-mentee relationship. So really just everybody kind of did really good together. You had the whole X and not X. You had the new guy and the old guy, like really relationships played a big part in this movie. Actually, I saw a meme that I thought was pretty great in regards to Eternals that said, why the hell did they make the Eternals so horny? Because like half of the movie's problems wouldn't happen if they weren't so horny.
Look, if you were on a planet for 7,000 years, what else is there to do after a while?
Yeah, I just like they're they're like celestial beings or robots or whatever the hell they actually are, but for some reason like we're gonna give them the horny button.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I didn't know this. Not that I don't know why this would be a Google alert that I have, but apparently it was pretty well publicized that this was going to be the first Marvel movie to have a sex scene in it.
Oh wow.
And I didn't like, I went in, I saw it, I was like, oh, all right, I guess we're doing this now. But
it went on a little longer than I was ready for. Like I was just like, there was like a kid next to me. I'm like, do I need to like cover his eyes? I don't know that kid, but like
I was with my brother and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that
part of that
for being in a Marvel universe, which is, I mean, obviously we're grown ass adults watching it and enjoying it, but like
right.
a lot of kids watch this stuff, and to have a full-on sex scene is very distasteful.
Yeah.
Like that's worse in any way, shape, or form than the gay relationship they show, and I guarantee more people are gonna be mad about that.
oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying like compared to each other, it was much more tame, but people are still going to be more upset. Okay, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it distasteful.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it was actually tasteful. It was really well shot and done, but I just mean for being in a kid universe,
Yeah, I think there's the expectation that kids are going to go see this movie. What was it was PG-13, right? So
it was PG-13. I do have to say though that's a strictly American problem, because Captain America Winter Soldier has dudes getting thrown into helicopter jets and being like crushed into like being like innocent people being murdered, mowed down, and we don't give a shit at all. But like you see half a titty and everybody's like, oh my god. So like that, we have a weird stigma with sex in the United States. So that's going to be.
It doesn't happen in foreign films at all either. I remember watching that in my film class. I forgot what the movie was, but it was like a prison movie, and there was just dicks everywhere, and it was just a casual movie. It was just what they didn't make a big deal out of it. It was just part of the story. I'm like, okay.
Lars von Trier has penetration in his film, like full on penetration, and it's normal. It's not a big deal over there. So anyone in Europe is going to be like, that's it.
Yeah.
No, the part of that like terrible movie theater experience that I had was the 15 or 16-year-old kids right next to me who could not handle that shit and were just giggling and being loud the whole time.
Yeah. No, that goes back to our whole thing of like me starting to like creeping along, hating movie theaters more and more, just going back to them now. I'm like, God, this is such a shitty, like, I wish I was just on my couch watching this.
Yeah. We can get into that in a
4K
little
TV
bit.
at home. Let me just watch it there, please.
Yeah, we can get into that later if you want. I think we should keep on the Eternals track.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely be down to talk about that. But yeah, I the other thing, obviously people were saying that they were like, oh, it's too much representation. I don't like gays. Well, just dumb shit. I'm not even really going to focus on that because it's horribly ignorant. But what I am going to focus on are the actual complaints that like real movie critics had, some of which we've touched on already, but I definitely think are valid. A lot of people were saying that they were really bored during this movie because it was too long. They were saying that again, all the stuff we had already, but like too many characters and too many plot lines, too much happening. But this is one of those movies that I feel like I'm surprised that so many people actively dislike it. I could understand maybe an indifference to it, like, oh, that was, whatever. If you don't really care about the MCU that much or whatever, you're like, yeah, that was just a movie, people fucking action and whatever, summer popcorn flick. But like, I don't get the hatred for this movie. That's I think where there's a disconnect.
I agree. And I think a big problem is was it Scorsese said that he was like, oh, these are the amusement parks of films.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the problem with getting an Oscar-winning director like Chloe Zhao to come in and do that is she made her movie like an Oscar movie. She didn't make her movie like a superhero movie. And I think what you said was the thing you said about the filet and the peanut butter from the critic. You want to quote that
Oh
real
yeah.
quick?
That was our favorite. So we were looking at Rotten Tomatoes review. Oh, Chris, you had something you wanted to say though. So what were you gonna say real quick?
No, do this because I was just gonna make a point about critics. So
Okay. Yeah. So I'll say this and we can do that. But yeah, they one of them was that they were like, the MCU is the peanut butter of films. Chloe Zhao is the filet mignon of directors, but I just couldn't enjoy my peanut butter steak. And to your point exactly, I think that there is going to be a big disconnect between people who want like Sparky Boom, muscle guy, shoot to get girl back, like like that kind of action that's normally in Marvel movies versus this, which is a little more artsy, a little more slower paced. Tells a story. I mean, I know that there have been comparisons already, but this movie feels almost identical to Man of Steel. In terms of how it's structured, even from like the out of order flashbacks to the look of Superman, even like the CGI with the laser beams on Icarus. Like this feels very much like a Zack Snyder film. It's pretty dour in some spots.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and again, it's pretty much mirroring that. I think that people went into it expecting the amusement park, and they got an art gallery, and I think that a lot of the bad taste might be coming from not expecting it. But what's weird to me with it is like the actual movie critics saying they don't like it because it is like it almost, in a weird sense, it almost feels like Oscar bait. Like it feels like one of those style of films, which is usually what critics like eat up. But for some reason, it's Oscar bait in the MCU, and they're just like they just can't do the cognitive dissonance of like, this is a good movie, but it's in this universe that I hate because everyone thinks they're better than superhero movies. And they just got this cognitive dissonance of like, I have to hate it because if I like it, that means I like this, and I don't like this.
It does feel like a lot of people were like, I fucking hate the MCU and I hate this movie. And I'm like, should we get someone else who works with you to review these? Like,
yeah, you
That's what
clearly
I was gonna
you
say.
don't have a neutral opinion, so you shouldn't be a movie critic.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like these critics have like a hate boner for Marvel for whatever reason. Like every one of them is like, this is Marvel and it sucks. And I'm like, did you watch the movie or are you just hating on it because it's got a Marvel tag on it?
Yeah,
I mean, some of them are valid. Like I think the runtime being kind of long is valid if you weren't interested in the movie. Like you take this movie out of the MCU, like it could be its own standalone film. And the story, like I really liked the story. I got involved in the story. I tried to immerse myself in the story, and I kind of got lost in it. I didn't even think about the runtime for like an hour and a half or something. I didn't even think about it. And then if you don't really care about the story or it's not hooking you like it should be, I can see how it would drag for you. But objectively, I think this story is still really good and it's presented in a way that's like fun for the audience. And I just it's hard for me to think like all these critics have a problem with the story and how this movie is presented. You know, I think they're not giving it a fair chance because it's just a Marvel movie. But if you take the Marvel movie, like you take the Marvel tag off of it, I bet you would have a greater score.
I think
100% agree.
I think a lot of critics, yeah, no, I totally agree with that entirely. And I think a lot of critics think that most MCU fans think of the MCU as this like monolith, like it's one thing. Like you either like the MCU or you don't like the MCU. And I think for a lot of people that's the case. It's like I don't care what they give me, like I just want more MCU, like like they just want to eat it up. But like I don't look at it that way. And I know you guys don't either. For me, it's movie to movie, it's TV show to TV show. I'm like, I can enjoy what they're trying to do with like weaving this interconnected universe that's never been done before. And I think that is always something that's going to be special. But that doesn't mean you can just put out shit film after shit film. And I'm going to be like, oh, this is great. I love the MCU. Like these past two movies have not been very good, especially Black Widow. And like seeing something like this where it feels like they're taking it in a new direction, I'm fine with them experimenting as long as they get talented people like Chloe Zhao involved.
Yeah, I think this film, it has like Marvel elements in it. Like you see some of it, but it's not as Marvel-y as like other like, you know, that's what you guys said. It's not as Marvel-y as the other movies. So that's why I'm having trouble seeing why people think this is such a bad film. Because like there's Marvel elements in other Marvel movies that I hate, and rightfully so. But this movie doesn't have those, and it gets more hate. I just, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
It's pure cognitive dissonance they can't separate the movie from the universe. And I think that it's like kids will go into an MCU movie, and no matter how good or bad that movie is, they'll be like, that was awesome. You know, the kid is going to walk out super excited because they saw a laser battle. They saw a sweet fight with a generic villain, and they're like, yeah, this is amazing. But like adults can critically think and be like, wow, I like this universe a lot. There's a lot of stuff in the MCU I like. There's a lot of stuff in the MCU I don't like. I need to critically analyze this and judge it, you know.
What you just alluded to is that these movie critics have like the mental capacity of a fucking child if they can't see past I hate the MCU.
I stand by that illusion.
They need a new job.
They're as bad as the kid who loves everything. They're just the exact same thing on the opposite spectrum, right?
Yeah.
It's if you can't analyze critically, you shouldn't be a critic. It's your whole job is critical thinking.
It's right there in the title.
Yeah.
It's interesting to bring up the kid thing too, because you know a lot of kids are like that. Like they're like, I just want to watch this thing. It's gonna be cool, and then we're gonna talk about it. It's gonna be dope. But it's almost like kids aren't the generic robots that you think they are, and that every kid has different tastes. And I mean, like I remember liking some superhero stuff before, but until I saw that first Spider-Man movie in theaters when I was 7, like that changed my fucking life in like the most dramatic way possible. And it wasn't just because I saw Spider-Man on the screen. Like I'm sure that was part of it, but it was the fucking Danny Elfman score. It was like it was these triumphant moments of like what a hero should actually be. It was like seeing a comic book villain in a way that I had never seen before. Like it was all of these amazing elements, the directing, the writing, the cinematography that like came to, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but looking back, I'm like those are the things that made me love that movie. So like when kids see something like this, which I also think is directed very well, you know, Chloe Zhao did a great job. Cinematography is great. Like they're not just going to be like, that was cool because it had a man or a woman who could run fast or a man who could shoot lasers. Like there's some kids would be like, wow, that was a moving experience. Like they don't know why maybe, but you'll feel that emotion. So I don't know. When Marvel puts out brain dead shit like Black Widow, it infuriates me more when people are like, oh, well, kids will love it. I'm like, no, they fucking won't. Not all of them. Like there are kids that want good films, and it makes me mad that like when people say something is a kid's, oh, it's just a kid's movie, it can be bad. I'm like, the Lego movie is one of the best movies ever made, and that's a kid's movie, and it's fucking great. So like I don't buy into that. Like, oh, Emoji Movie is for kids. Like, no, it's a shitty film. and you shouldn't show your kids shit.
I think what makes a kids movie is like the rating, so to speak, like what's in the movie itself that is appropriate for kids.
Well, that's certainly part of it, but I'm talking more about on the excuse end when people are like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
no,
it's
I
a
know what you
kids movie, so it's allowed to be bad," which I don't, agree with that at all.
Yeah. Well, I also think like in this movie, like there's a lot of visuals that like you said, kids might not know why they like the movie, but like especially visuals and like audio, like that stuff is really important to anybody, but like that's gonna hook a kid. And like they might not know why, but if they see like even if it's, oh, I like the pretty colors and pretty flashes and when he's doing the thing with his hands and it's the gears on the, whatever. You know, they might not know why they like it, but it's captivating for them.
It is. Yeah, kids aren't stupid. And I hate when people treat them like they're stupid. It's the same thing like that happens when some tragedy happens and everyone goes to like blaming, I don't know, music or violent video games or whatever. Like kids are just these robots, or if they see one image, they're just gonna start killing each other. Like that's not how that works. I mean, you have to find the fundamental problem. Like maybe you're just shitty parents. And you have to take responsibility for your actions. Like you can't blame other people's creations for your kid's shitty behavior. This is totally off topic. I know.
Yeah.
I just it makes me upset.
Started off with Eternals. We ended on a be good parents. Stop using scapegoats for your shitty parenting. Just be a good person.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Take your kid to see Spider-Man 1 the same way.
Go back in time.
They'll end up perfect like Connor.
This is what perfection looks like right here. That movie, as much as I love that movie scared the shit out. Like at the end when Green Goblin gets impaled and he's and he's like spitting up blood. I didn't eat for like 2 weeks after that because I was terrified. But I was like, Mom was like, do you want to go see it again? Like you were so scared. I'm like, yes. I want to go see
it was worth it.
I think that movie was like kind of scary when I watched it as a kid. Like the impaling thing, because that happened quick. And like the bombs too were kind of scary to me. But
no, they would never show shit like that in a kid's movie now. Like that's just not, the kind of thing they would do. But it was funny too. My mom told me I couldn't see it because I was only 7 and it's a PG-13 movie. She's like, you're not allowed to see this. And I think I've told this story before, but I was at camp and it was Ice Age was also out in theaters and Spider-Man was out. And the camp counselors had sent home this note being like, hey, we're gonna let your kids watch Ice Age. And my mom signed it and she sent it back. And they got all of them together, all the notes, and they were like, you guys want to go see Spider-Man instead? They changed it last minute there. And of course, all the kids were like, yeah, we want to go see Spider-Man. So they took us to actually the theater I ended up working at. It was a different branch, but we ended up going to that theater. And I sat down and I was never the same. So I'm really grateful to those camp counselors that did that because it was, it was awesome.
It's very funny.
I think there's one final point I want to make that I haven't brought up about Eternals, and I kind of brought it up. It was like the Marvel elements, and that's like the comedy. We didn't really talk about that. The comedy in this movie is pretty good for a Marvel film. Like I actually genuinely liked almost all of the jokes. I think they were funny. Some of them were well timed. I do have a problem with the timing of some of the other ones. Like they still have a problem with interrupting like heartfelt moments, and I hate that. Like I don't want comedy interjected. Like save it like before the moment, after the moment, but you put it right in the middle, like it kills it for me. But there were even times where they didn't do that, which was nice. This was like a really nice breath of fresh air from like the comedic relief perspective in a Marvel movie.
You guys told me too. You were like, first 30 minutes, there is no comedy, and you weren't kidding. Like there wasn't a single joke.
Yeah.
It's pure exposition, beautiful scenes, and like it just like I just felt so engrossed. I forgot I was watching a Marvel movie until whatever the first joke was. I can't even remember what it was at this point. But I just remember just getting so like engrossed in the film, like watching it at first. And again, it's like it didn't feel like a Marvel movie for a little while, and I was like, "This is fantastic!" It's like that finally a new take. They broke the formula. We can evolve as people, and then they're like, "Psych."
Yeah.
But at least in this one, you're right that the jokes were a lot better timed for most of them. I think. In particular, I think of like the IKEA thing where he like breaks the table after he laser beams the window. I thought that was really funny.
That was good because it fit with what he was trying to do, which was like you made this house a fortress, but he didn't do that to the table, and it was funny. Like it was funny and it was well timed.
Yeah, and in the final battle as well, I don't think there was any like quips or anything. Like the only funny-ish moment in like the entire final battle was Durag smacking Sprite in the head, and even then, like I think it was just funny because it caught us off guard. But like that was the only like thing in the final battle where it other that wasn't serious, like oh my god, the world might end type stuff. They actually focused on, holy crap, if you guys don't stop this, Earth is going to blow up. Like
Yeah.
they actually focused on that, which was great, and I really enjoyed that aspect.
The only jokes I'll say that didn't work for me, and it's funny because it's actually this person has the best joke and some of the best jokes and some of the worst jokes in the movie. And I could just say Kumail in general. Like there's a moment with him like on the plane where it's really not funny at all. Like there's a lot of unfunny moments smattered in with a couple funny ones, but like just like you said, Chris, just comedically off. Like everybody just seemed a little bit off with their timing. Because a lot of them aren't comedians. Like they're just, they're regular actors, so they don't really know what makes a joke work with the setup and the punchline. And maybe that was just what was throwing Kumail off, because he has the funniest joke in the whole movie. And I'll say it here for everybody else too when you do see it. But my favorite joke in the film that actually made me laugh out loud is when they're sitting in Egypt at the table, and someone, I think it's Brian Tyree Henry's character, sits next to him. He's like, dude, there are so many chairs here. And like that, it really caught me off guard. And I was like belly laughing in the theater. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, he is like you're right. He's at like he has the funniest jokes in the movie. He also has the worst. And you're right. I don't know if it's so much the actors because they're doing their best there. I think it might be like the writers. Because
They had to have their one token funny character, right? Like you can't. That was like that was on the contract. Fahey was just like sitting there with a gun to her head, like you better make him kind of funny.
yeah, that he kind of fell
Better
on the
give him some
sword.
awkward funniness holding up a camera. I swear to God.
No, it's like the clause in every old Disney animated movie where every animal that they have has to act like a dog, no matter what it is. Like you'll see if you go back and watch a Disney movie, everyone has it. Like in not even that, but like in newer ones, like Wally the cockroach acts like a dog. Like he's standing there waiting for him, and he's kind of cute. Like every animal has that, and I think it's the same thing with Marvel. They're like, we need a goofy character, especially like this, and where I think it worked a little better, and Shang-Chi where it didn't work at all and was maybe one of the worst parts of the film. Chris, I won't spoil anything because I know you haven't seen it, but it's a character, and they've done this a lot, but it's a character that I think worked really well, and then they just stopped. Like they ruined it with what they were trying to do. And I think you'll understand what I mean when you see it. The only other thing I'll say is weird with this movie is sometimes the cuts were a little abrupt. Like I was telling Chris, it was like someone would be like, hey, we have to go find the other Eternals. And they're like, yeah, cool, let's share this cab. And then it'll cut to like, it's like 4000 BC Mesopotamia. And you're like, whoa, shit.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it a little bit. I mean, I like
did
definitely
too.
the flashbacks and going back in time. It was a little abrupt, but I think that was okay.
It's better than showing them in a taxi, right? Like I'd rather it cut to not seeing heroes in a taxi because that's boring non-content I don't want to see.
Yeah, it was because of where those scenes are placed, like in between meeting each person. I think it works well, and you understand when that happens. Like after the first couple times it happens, like the first or second time it happens, you understand that we're going back in time, and you're seeing what has happened throughout human history, but also this Eternals history and how those go together. You understand what's happening in these scenes, and I don't think it is that jarring. Maybe the first time, maybe the second time, but after that, I think it's okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Like as soon as as soon as I realized they were doing the Man of Steel thing, I was like, oh, okay. I know what you're doing now. It just, the beginning felt like the beginning of Rogue One. I don't know if you guys remember, but they go to like 5 planets in 2 seconds. And they're like, here's what's happening here. And now here's what's happening here. You're like, holy shit, you need to slow down. And then it does. And it gets, I actually think Rogue One and this are similar in terms of them starting off a little weaker. And then it just got better and better. Like, Rogue One, I think, is a better movie than this, but like they did just kind of get, and that's usually not the case of Marvel movies. Usually I like the first act is really good. The second act is pretty good too. And in the third act, it, shits the bed. But this felt like the exact opposite, which was very refreshing.
For sure.
I might disagree with that. I think the beginning was really good for me because I kind of liked learning like all this stuff thrown at me. And the final battle was really awesome. It almost like dragged a little bit, like when we're like, okay, we're getting like the last Eternal and it's taking for like that's the part that dragged. And I think that was where like my low point in the movie was. Still don't hate it. Still don't think it was too long or anything. But
and more like
personally, that's where like you start off good and you kind of drag a little bit, but then the final battle brings you back up.
Yeah, that's fair too. I would actually agree with that. All right, yeah. Do you guys want to do like a numbered score real quick? Do you have one in your back pocket or?
Like 7.5. I think I need to watch this again. Like I said, we didn't talk about it. The movie theater experience. I couldn't get immersed in it for a number of different reasons. The audio was terrible. The people in the theater were terrible. They had alarms going off, phone calls going off. They were Snapchatting with the flash on. Like the kids next to me would not shut up, especially for the first 30 minutes of that movie. It was like nonstop talking. One of the kids was playing a fucking game on his phone and the movie started and his buddy's like, oh, you should put that down. And he's like, no, like, let me finish this level. And I'm like, your phone is on max fucking brightness, dude. Like, put that shit away. I literally turned to Hannah. I was like, when can I tell these kids to shut the fuck up?
Oh my
God.
it
was not good, but
that's everything I hate about the movie theater experience in one sitting.
Also, I don't know if people know this, but I hate sitting in a movie theater because there's never enough leg room and my knees will start to hurt. And that happened here. There was a little bit more leg room, but the seats were like less, like more uncomfortable than normal. So that kind of balanced out and it was still crappy. But I say 7.5, maybe 8. It needs a rewatch though. And it deserves one.
Yeah. So I'm at about an 8 myself as well. I think that there was like, I think that Chloe honestly did a fantastic job with the characters that she was given. There's not too much I think that she could have changed in the movie considering the source material and stuff. So I think she did the best with what she had, but I think 8's a fair assessment.
Yeah, having this discussion definitely makes me, this is one of those movies too, the more I think about it, the more I enjoy it. Which happens a lot with me. And sometimes it happens in the other way with Black Widow, where I was like, oh, that was fine. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, God, this is a shit. This is a shit film. But this one, I'd probably give it like a 7 or a 7.5. I think I'm in about the same range as you guys. I it's not perfect, but it's a really good step in the right direction for Marvel and a really solid starting point for these characters. Like I actually care what happens next. Like I remember like seeing the end credit scene and the second end credit scene. I was like, man, I'm pretty invested in this. And like, that's exactly what an end teaser should do. It's like, here's a little hint for what to come. And you should go, oh, fuck, that's awesome. And like, that's how I felt.
For sure. Yeah. I'll be excited. I almost wish that if it sounds like they might not end up making Internals 2, which is super disappointing because I don't know if this will end up making the money back that it needs to. And honestly, I'm disappointed by that because I would be really excited to watch a second one with Chloe. But if they could do anything with it, I wouldn't mind like a TV show. So we could get a little more character development for each of these individual characters. You could get a little bit more behind it, and you could maybe take a little bit of the budget away so that it's less painful in Disney.
Yeah, a little less risky to,
a lot of the, besides like what Jolie, everyone else that's left is a lower priced actor, I think. So I think that it won't kill them to make a TV show that way either.
I think we talked about that, didn't we, Connor? Like this, like I know I posed it earlier, maybe 2 2-hour movies, but as a TV show, I think this would have been also good because yeah, I think we were talking about this like each character, like when we find that new character, that could be its own episode almost.
Yeah, I could see them doing this almost as an anthology thing, but really maybe like the first episode is all the characters together. Then when they split up, each episode after that tells the story of one character. And then the end, they come back and have like the celestial fight. I think that would have worked great for a TV show.
Yeah.
You could have had like episode 3 or 4 also be like all those historical scenes. And so you can see through like history, like how, you know, they've grown together apart or, you know, how the group developed over 7,000 years.
Yeah.
That would have been like its cool own little standalone episode if it was a TV series.
It is
For
funny
sure.
as we get deeper into the MCU to think about like, okay, so in Iron Man 1, watching it now, I now know that when Tony Stark is in that Humvee at the beginning of the movie, there is a giant man in the core of the earth waiting to be birthed. Like it's shit like that. You're like, huh, that's very strange.
Yeah.
As long as they
Wait
don't
till they
break
start
anything.
introducing vampires with Blade.
Yeah. I can't wait. Mahershala Ali is gonna fucking kill it. He's the only person who could play Blade now. Like that was the best choice they could have made. He's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that could probably wrap up our talk on Eternals. I think we would all recommend you guys go see it. You know, give it a chance for yourself. If you don't like it, that's fine. You know, we're not telling you have to like it, but I think it's going to be better than you probably think it is. Just
And
based
if
on
you
the
have
reviews.
seen it, leave us a comment of what you thought, if you liked it or if you didn't. And if you didn't like it, please leave a comment because we're curious.
I'm so curious. Like, I'm not here to like, as soon as you say, be like, oh, fuck you. Like, I want you guys to express how you feel and like, you know, really tell us why you didn't like it. Cause I'm so curious.
Yeah, like aside from the critic bullshit.
Right. But yeah, on that note, so we were talking the other day. Chris, you sent me a snap about Wendy's, and you were saying how they have a sign now that says that their fries are hot and crispy. I think is that what it was?
I think it was redesigned. Yeah, it was hot and crispy. I believe that's what it was.
It was like new hot and crispy or something like that.
Yeah,
I wonder if
implying that they are soggy and and wet.
which is that's how they were before. So at least they're like
Cold
conscious
soggy.
of.
Yeah, so
I don't.
that was what that implied to us. And we were talking about how, you know, Wendy's fries are kind of gross in general. But that got us on the topic. We haven't done a tier list in a long time. And I thought it would be fun. We all thought it would be fun to do a French fry tier list with all of you. So there are some on here that I think are just not like I have never had because they're not local. Like I don't know what Culver's is.
I'm not sure what that is either. Can you add a column for like we just have not had
like
them
never
before?
had.
I think we could probably just leave them down here, I guess. Like we'll just
Yeah.
That works.
we won't pick
Do you
them
just want
up.
to go in order then?
Yeah, I think we'll kind of go down the list, and then after that we'll rearrange them in the tiers, and then we'll go from first to last.
Okay.
So let's start with Cane's. I adore Cane's, but the chicken. The fries are pretty subpar. I don't know if you guys have had them. I'd probably put them around C, but what do you guys think?
I'm somewhere between like I'm like the line between C and D.
I'm
It's-
about in the same place. Maybe a little
Yeah.
closer to D. It's been a long since I've had them, so I don't have them exactly fresh in my mind. But I think the chicken definitely outshines the fry.
Oh, 100%.
You
But
go
that-
for the chicken and the sauce.
Yeah. Oh, and the Texas toast.
Yeah. The fries are just extra carbs.
Yeah. So if Chris is more towards B and you're more towards D and I'm all C, then I think right here is perfect.
I said C and D as in dog.
Oh, I thought you said B.
We can
no,
leave
no,
it C. I think C is
I-
fair.
I would not put it in B.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put it in B for sure.
Yeah.
This is easy. I mean,
S
come
tier.
come on.
I'll say I'm either S or S and A there, but I think I can definitely. I think it's safe to put an S.
For sure. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't know Arby's had fries.
Dude, what?
Dude,
They
curly
have, like,
fries.
The curly fries.
Oh,
They're
the curly
amazing.
fries. The curly, yes. Okay, I would say S.
I'm S.
Yeah, I think I'm also S. I say I love their fries. Oh, I'll devour those every time I get them.
I don't know what I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was like, dude, does Arby's have, but we got the curly fries and they're, yeah.
They have like regular fries now, and I went to Arby's recently during work, and they were like, "Do you want these?" I was like, "What did you just say to me?"
You out of your fucking mind?
Yeah. Give me the seasoned fries right now, or I'm not going to give you any money.
That's an interesting point, though. Should we judge these based on all the fries they have, or just like one subsection? Because their regular fries might be kind of gross.
I've never
The
had it, so I
iconic.
can't judge it based on that. I'm going to go based on the fry that I've had, and for that, it's S.
The iconic fry, in my opinion.
Okay, so whatever their version, whatever any restaurant's version of the iconic fry is, that's what we're judging it on.
I think
Yeah, so for Arby's, it's the curly fries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burger King fries kind of suck.
I think it's like that's like an F for me. They're kind of gross. They're like, at least the
Yeah.
last time I had it, it was not good.
Yeah.
I would say D or F. Could definitely go F.
Burger King also
They
has
have to be.
Oh,
I
what's
was
up?
gonna say they have to be like fresh, hot, and you have to eat them in 3 minutes, or they're bad.
Oh yeah. They also have the worst chicken nuggets I've ever had in my life. I don't know if it was just that one I went to, but their chicken nuggets were fucking awful.
I was just about to say, I really wanted to try the ghost pepper nuggets, and I got those, and they were like soggy. Like I was like, how did you not crisp a nugget? Like
Dude,
just put it in the goddamn fryer.
no, it was like rubbery mush. It was
Yeah,
horrible.
like I picked it up and like it started like the peel. It started like peel off. I'm like, this is a nugget, man. How do you fuck this up?
Dude, I forgot about the ones I didn't eat. I left in my car for like 4 days and they didn't smell. And it was chicken. I'm like, this is not chicken.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
like the ghost pepper flavor that was on the nugget, but I couldn't get past how awful it was. Everything else, it was just like a bad nugget experience. I also they had like little cheese tots, and those were also disgusting.
Mm.
Just all around, just fuck Burger King.
What were you gonna say, Chris?
I was gonna say I don't think their nuggets are the greatest, but I don't think they deserve that much hate.
They're cheap. I mean, you can get like 20 of them for $3. It's just like,
Oh, I do the. They got like the mix and match 5. You get nuggets and a Impossible Whopper for $5. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal. No, their burgers are great. Their chicken sandwich, the original chicken sandwich, is bomb.
That's Hannah's favorite thing is the original chicken sandwich. Anyway, we're talking about fries.
Oh yeah, sorry. I got distracted by that sandwich. It's so good. Chick-fil-A is like probably B or A for me. I don't know.
I'm closer to B, I think myself. B. I'm like BC.
Yeah, I think it's the sauce that makes them. So I'm gonna go B.
Yeah, they're not salted at all. Like not enough.
I would even go C. Like I don't think they're that great.
Do we want to leave it B for now and then we'll kind of see where the rest of them lie?
Yeah,
I think so,
I'm
yeah.
fine
Because
with
like if we
that.
go to put something else in B and we said it's clearly better than Chick-fil-A, we can bring it down, you know.
Okay.
I will actively skip Chick-fil-A's fries if I don't have some kind of sauce.
I agree with that. So maybe they are C. If I would skip them without sauce, I think that makes them C.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. I think Hardee's, whatever, Carl's Jr. fries are really gross.
Honestly, I can't even remember the last time I had fries there.
Not Burger
So-
King bad, but I would say like right here.
I think I've had Arby's like burger like once in my life. I have no idea.
Yeah, I would say right. I think right there is about right. We can change it later.
trust
These
you.
next two I've never. Have you guys had Free Shavacado Del Taco?
I have
No,
not.
I have not. I also have not had Culver's.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave those. Popeyes fries are really good. I'd probably put those like A.
I think I'm at A, maybe like B and a half. You know, like I think I'm closer to A though. But I will say the last 2 times I've had Popeyes and gotten their fries, they've been like cold, so they're really gross because they were cold.
Right.
But I like the seasoning on them a lot. They're not quite as good as Arby's and Checkers, but I think they're just below that when they're hot.
Yeah. No, they season the shit out of everything at Popeyes. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think A is probably fair for right now. I'm gonna move these down here.
I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever had Popeye's fries. I always get like mashed potatoes or some other side.
They're
I'd say give it a shot.
I say they're like a not as good version of Checkers. Like they're
Okay.
not as crispy.
Yeah.
So that's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, these are kind of just like fucking potatoes. The Five Guys fries.
I'm at A with Five Guys, but to be fair, I usually get their Cajun fries, and their Cajun fries are amazing. But I could live with B as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
like
they're
A and
bad.
B.
I will eat them, and that's all I have to say.
I think I will eat them deserves B.
Fair enough. I like if you got next time you guys get Five Guys, if you want to take out a loan and you can afford Five Guys, I would say get the Cajun fries because they're infinitely better than the regular ones. Although if you guys like malt vinegar, Casey usually likes to get the malt vinegar for the fries, and she says that makes it really good too.
That's what I usually get when I go to, or when I went to Five Guys again before their 3,000% inflation.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I
still
feel like
paying off my second mortgage from the last time I went.
no joke, dude. I had a $30 gift card there. Joey and I, Joey Burt and I got 2 burgers, and it was an extra $1.
Well, their burgers are like $10, and then you have to add everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely insane. I was like, I will never, I won't come back here again. It's not worth the money.
You could get 4 burgers at fucking Burger King for that price.
Oh yeah. Chris, I think this one just applies to you and me. Joey, I don't think you've had In-N-Out, right?
No, I haven't.
These fries
California for
fucking
me.
slap.
It's probably A tier for me.
Yeah.
It has to be top of A tier. I haven't had Popeye's fries, but I would imagine In-N-Out's better.
I would say In-N-Out's fries are pretty similar to like a McDonald's fry.
Okay.
They're kind of close to that, and then you get them animal style with the onions and the Thousand Island, and oh, dude,
They season them better than McDonald's. Their texture is very close, but the seasoning's better.
yeah. I think McDonald's just has like a fry that's, well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
Yeah, we'll get that.
KFC fries fucking suck.
Is it? Are we considering their potato wedges? Is that just their fries?
I think so, yeah. Which is basically a steak fry, which is garbage.
I'm in the same
between,
boat
like
as-
D and F. Like the ones that are like small and really crispy, I really like because I like the seasoning on it. But like if you get like the big ass potato wedge, they're disgusting.
Oh yeah, no, if Red Robin was on here, I'd put it F tier too. Like
Yeah.
it's so yeah.
I'm in the
Look at
same
that.
boat with KFC as I am with Popeyes. Like I get the mashed potatoes or something like good. I don't want fries. Give me
No.
something like hearty.
Yeah. Just not coleslaw.
You take that back, you son of a bitch.
The man said square up.
I feel like I'm the only person like in the world that likes coleslaw.
I think you might be.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna get you for Christmas this year. Just like the biggest fucking thing of like Cane's
Give me like a
coleslaw.
5-gallon tub of coleslaw. I'll be happy.
Bro, I should send, because I know you guys don't have, I don't think you guys have a Cane's near you. I should send everybody like a giant bottle of Cane sauce.
Mm.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, we tried to make some like ourselves, and it came out really bad.
Oh man, okay. So this easy
Yeah, easy yes.
S for me. Chris?
Uh-oh.
I gotta put it below In-N-Out, but group consensus, I'll keep it there. I think it's like high A, low S. I don't like that it's above In-N-Out.
I'm fine. I have had this more, so maybe that's where my bias is, but I'm okay with this being above In-N-Out just because I've had it so many more times.
And I've
I
never
also
had it
think-
now, so I can't contribute at all.
I think this is going to be probably the most controversial one because I feel like McDonald's fries, you either love them or you hate them.
Yeah,
So
that's
the fact
true.
that we put these up here, there's going to be people who watch this and they're going to be like, "You guys have no taste."
I think people are going to be mad about the Chick-fil-A one too. I think putting that at C was a pretty controversial.
Everything Chick-fil-A is overrated. You can get over yourself.
Yes, I agree.
Chris
Um,
canceled.
Have you guys had Smash Burger? I don't think I've ever had their fries.
I have had Smash
Yeah,
Burger. I can't even remember their fries. I have a feeling that you could get like, I feel like they were kind of like Steak and Shake fries.
they're very well seasoned in my opinion, and they're like the straw fries like you can get at McDonald's and stuff. They do come out kind of like limp. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like a weird adjective to use, but
I could probably
they're
put
not
it
as
at like
crispy
A or
as
B. I think.
I probably
right?
I put it above Five Guys.
Okay, so like right here, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no stake in this because I've never had. I don't think I've ever had their fries before. Um,
Those
Okay.
that's another one that's really expensive for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah,
no,
it's-
I got one burger. There was like $8. Nuts. It was like a small, like a slider. It was insane.
Yeah.
This one is tough because I want to preface it by saying Sonic has like top tier burgers. Like their burgers are insane, and I love Sonic. Their fries are like bottom of C for me.
I would put them to D. I've tried their fries once before. They were kind of gross, and I've gotten the tater tots ever since.
Yeah, no, tater tots are better.
Okay, so that's where I think, do we go with the fries or do we go with the tots? Because the tots are infinitely better.
Oh, that's
This
interesting.
is a
Yeah,
fry tier list, so I think that we had to stick to fry.
I think we got to stick to fries. Yeah,
We were going iconic. I think the tots.
It was the iconic fry, though. A tot isn't a fry, right?
it
That's
kind
a
of
good
is
question.
though. Now I don't know because I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, oh, we're just doing like curly fry is still a fry, but now I don't know.
Well, then, like, is waffle fry not a fry? Because
But
it's
still a
not.
fry.
It does have the name. I guess it has to have fry in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
tater
even then,
tots
I
are
guess that
fry.
what does that do for KFC? Because they just have potato wedges. It's not even a fry. They just have they sliced up a baked potato and called that shit a day.
But that's what a steak fry is. So I mean, it's kind of the same. Well, if you guys,
Can we duplicate? Can we have like Sonic up and below?
yeah, I think if we do like this, like bottom of B, I'd be okay if we're including the tots.
Yeah.
Okay,
Either well, maybe this, maybe top of C.
I like that better.
Okay. I think that's fair. This is probably S for me.
I think so. I was about to say, Steak and Shake is one of my favorite fries, especially when you get the seasoning on there.
Oh, the garlic ones. Oh my
Oh.
god, dude. Disgusting. Like in a good way, disgusting. Like, oh. Fuck that shit.
Believe it
up.
or not, I've never had Steak and Shake.
I wish there was more of them. There was the one in Roanoke that we used to go to when we were in college. That is unfortunately shut down now, which is stupid because that was amazing.
I think
The-
there's one near me. I might try it.
There's
It's
one at
fucking
like a
awful
university near me, but it's all made by like college kids who don't give a shit, and that's not. You can't have that Steak and Shake. You have to have a chain smoking chef out there. Like you have to.
I want to taste the cigarette.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
fries.
It's not the same without it. Like
That
if you don't taste his regret in life, you don't taste Steak and Shake. You know.
that location was awful. I don't know why they decided to open it right there.
Yeah.
It was a bad choice. But yeah, Steak and Shake, not only do the burger slap, but those fries are so good. This I would say we have to go with the cheesy nacho fries for
Yeah, the
Taco
nacho
Bell.
fries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are probably A for me. I think.
I would
like
say the
nacho
same.
fries a
Look at Travis Scott with the French fry in your little ad over there.
Oh yeah.
lot.
Why is that? So the Travis Scott meal has been gone for a long time. It's funny. Yeah, I'd say like probably right here.
I didn't
I
even
haven't
have
had
Taco
In-N-Out, so
Bell
for me
ad
it's above
fries.
that. But
Have you never had their nacho fries, Chris? Like where you dip it in
I
the
don't think
cheese?
so.
Or with like the nacho cheese.
I've had like the nachos. I don't think I've had the nacho fries. Their cheese is
Oh.
good.
Dude, you're missing out. You got to get those.
Really well seasoned. Really well seasoned.
Are they on the dollar menu?
I think so.
They are
Yeah.
like if it's a full moon, like imagine like beer pong rules where it has to be a full moon on a
Oh no,
Tuesday.
I have had them. They're like never there. That's why. Yes, I have had those. They're fucking delicious. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about now.
Yeah, no, they're-
Honestly, I would flirt with S on there, like maybe
They're
the
like
lowest
orange.
S.
Uh,
Like I'm okay. I'm comfortable keeping it A, but I would flirt with S.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it A for the same reason I'm not going to boost Chick-fil-A, because the Taco Bell fries, the cheese makes it, and this isn't a cheese tier list.
That's true. You can't really eat the fries without the cheese. And by themselves, like they're not bad, but they're definitely not S tier, I think. With the
That's fair.
cheese, they're S tier.
That's fair.
Yeah,
This is fucking that shit out of here.
I would say their newer ones are a little bit better. I'm at least willing to put it at D. They're 100% better than the potato wedge and better than Burger King.
put it ahead of KFC. Their new fries are better, but they took years and years and years to reinvent their formula from garbage fries to like sort of acceptable garbage fries.
Dog, I feel like One Republic right now. It's too late to apologize.
For me, that's a D, I think. But if we keep it a high F is fine.
Well,
Yeah, it's like
that's
floating there in between.
that's all the ones. Oh, have you guys had Whataburger? I haven't, but
Mm.
I have. I put it probably in line with Sonic.
okay. So you want to do like something like this, maybe?
Yeah, right about there is good. They're like Sonic. They're probably pretty close to Sonic fries, but a little less. Like they're more bland.
I feel like a
To
place.
be honest, I
called-
cared more about the burger.
Yeah, I feel like a place called Del Taco probably has shitty fries, but I've never had it, so I don't.
I mean, if they do like the seasoning like Taco Bell fries does, maybe they slap, you know. But I just it's weird that I would have tacos and fries.
Yeah, that's true.
But to be
It's
fair,
Culver's-
I have tacos and fries at Taco Bell, I guess. So you know,
Yeah, there's like barely
Culver's-
fries though.
Frozen custard. So like a Dairy Queen type thing. They should have Dairy Queen on here.
Dairy Queen fries are gross.
Dairy Queen fries. Their burgers aren't bad though,
Yeah.
in all honesty. All right.
No,
well,
I'm just
oh, sorry. What?
no, I was gonna say like that Dairy Queen could realistically be on here.
Yeah, no, it could. There's a lot of other spots. I think they just wanted to go like kind of the mainstay.
What's
mainstay one.
what's not on here that you wish was? Anything?
I had to go through a bunch of lists to try and find one with checkers for whatever reason. They're not getting the goddamn respect they deserve.
I don't think they have
Doesn't
enough
it another
locations.
name?
Rallies.
Rallies, yeah.
Yeah. So rallies to us probably, but to most of the country, it's checkers.
Yeah.
Do you guys like or we've done all of them now? So do you guys like the order that they're in, or do you want to like rearrange a little bit internally?
It's tough because I haven't had Raising Canes, but again, it's still tough for me seeing Sonic that high up because I'm imagining they're fry and not their tot, and like Canes is definitely better than Sonic's fries, but the tot is better than Cane's fries. You know,
I'm okay with doing like this.
Put Canes in front of Whataburger.
Yeah.
and you said Whataburger was a more bland version of Sonic. so
Yeah,
maybe-
put Sonic ahead of Whataburger.
Okay. I like
think-
this.
I think that's your C tier is good now.
Okay.
I like
I like
this. I think
Five
this is
Guys
good.
better than Smash Burger fries, but again, my head is on Cajun, not on OG.
I haven't had them, so that's really up to you guys if you want me to move those around.
I haven't had the Cajun ones. I just only think OG, and the OG is definitely worse than Smash Burger. If I tried the Cajun, I might have a different opinion.
Okay.
That's fair.
So let's keep it there for now because I don't think this Cajun is like the premier fry there. You know, it's not like the one everybody gets.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's like regular fry is like the big thing, right?
yeah, just like the
Like
bag of
default
regular
or
fries.
whatever. Yeah,
On the amount of like the quantity of fry, like Five Guys is S tier for just be like, hey, here's a fucking bag of fries. Fuck you.
Dump that shit in there.
McDonald's
They
is the
give you-
same way. It's like, how do they fit all those in there?
Smashburger does like the cup. They just throw the cup in the bag and just fill the bag up with fries.
This is gonna be controversial. I might put McDonald's above Arby's, but I don't know how you both of your reactions are exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Dog.
I think like what's great about Arby's is like I feel like texture is great because they're basically like the shoestring style, but just in a curly shape. The shape is more fun, I guess you could say. And the seasoning, like I think all three of those kind of beat out McDonald's. You're right that I think most people have McDonald's more, and I will never turn down a McDonald's fry. But I think that Arby's is genuinely better.
I think McDonald's
Arby's
deserves to be S for sure. Like that's
Yeah, I think Arby's. Another thing I like about them is like their fries tend to like they're crispy, but they tend to like break, and so you get like a lot of the little like crispy pieces of fries, and I love that so much.
Yeah,
So
same.
I want to like just clarify the audience, like if you've never had a Checkers fry, like why they're so good. It's basically like the best seasoned fry I've ever had, first of all, but also the outside is like so crispy, but it has like the amount of steak fry potato injected into it. So you get a really nice crunch, and then it's the potato along with the seasoning, and it's like the perfect fry.
yeah, I think we both had this opinion, and we didn't know about it, Connor, until like one of us mentioned it.
Yeah, we were talking about it with Seabass, I think, because he said he's actually gonna be mad that we put Popeyes at A because he says they're the best. But we were telling him to go to Checkers, and he's like, I've never been before. We're like, dude, trust me, Popeyes will also drop to A once you've had Checkers.
I was to say, if he comes down this weekend, we can take him to a rally.
That's a great idea, actually, because there's a bunch of them all over the place. Well, there's like 2 or 3, but yeah, I'm really happy with this. We actually agreed on most of these. I think sometimes we like kind of differ pretty radically, but this was, I feel, pretty consistent between the 3 of us.
I think Sonic was our most contentious one, but I think that's also like Tots versus fries.
Yeah, it kind of gets into like what actually makes a fry because I don't even like steak fries are called steak fries, but they're not. They're fucking trash.
Yeah.
Well, I'll stop the share there. But yeah, that was fun. I love doing those tier lists. They're so much they're really good to like. Sometimes you feel like as a group when you do them, like it's not really accurate to how you would feel. But I think if I were to do it myself, mine would be pretty close to that one.
I think so too. I think generally speaking, most of those are in where I would put them. Like none of them are like more than one tier off.
Yeah, same.
Like you might
I think
drop one or
I'd
go up
bump
one.
Wendy's up one personally. And I was about the extent of where I put my stuff.
I would put Wendy's at literally the bottom if I had the option.
I would put Wendy's old fries. Like I would make a new tier below F for
Oh, yeah,
it.
they're like old ones were pretty gross, but yeah, like the new like the new crispy or whatever are decent.
It's
I
like
do give them props. They improved, but
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that hard to improve from what they had
It
before.
took a way too fucking long.
no, it's like how Critical has like below F, it's always James Corden. Like,
Yeah.
like that's what I would do, but it would just say Wendy's. Oh man. All right. Well, do you guys? Even last week I didn't really make this an official thing, but if you guys have any recommendations, want to throw them out, we can before we loot, scoot, and boogie the fuck out of here.
I've got one. The Tiny Tina Assault on Dragon Keep is free on the Epic Store, or $10 if you want it on like console, or you don't want to support Epic Games. It's literally just a DLC from Borderlands 2 that came out like 8 years ago, but it's its own standalone like game, I guess you could call it. But it's literally just that one DLC pack, and it's really great. And if you plan on playing Wonderlands when it comes out, this can get you hyped for it. And or if you've never played that one before, now's the time to get it because it's dope. You don't need Borderlands 2 for it. It's just its own little thing. So
I am hella down to run through that with you if you want, because I never played it and I would love to give that a try.
For free, it is 100% worth it, even if you go through Epic. For $10, it is again 100% worth it. Um, that content is great, especially if you're a fan of Borderlands or D&D or just like fantasy stuff. You can definitely get your money's worth. It's $10.
Yeah, no, I'm down. And I mean, all of us can play on computer now, so we can all get it for free, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
think
actually, I'm gonna download that right now.
I think you start at level 0. There's a cap of 40. There's a couple new cosmetic stuff. But other than that, it's the same story. But I'm always down to replay it. It's great.
Fair enough.
So that's my recommendation. Oh, it's free for 1 week only. So I think November 16th is when it becomes not free.
The Epic Store in general has really good free deals. Like the games that they give away are crazy. Like you're just like, oh, this came out this year, it's fucking free. Like they just
Yeah. I haven't downloaded it to my computer yet, and I really should have, because I usually see it. I was like, man, I wish I would have downloaded that. I just didn't.
No, I've gotten so much stuff. They had like Sonic Mania was on there one time. It was like Control. Saints Row the Third was free after they announced the new shitty looking one. Um, like they have tons of good stuff on there that they just basically throw away, which is awesome.
That is really cool. My recommendation will be Back for Blood. We've been kind of recently obsessed with it, and if you're a fan of the old Left 4 Dead games, this is the Left 4 Dead original creators said they'll make their own Left 4 Dead game with blackjack and hookers and cards and more zombies, and it's a lot of fun. I particularly enjoy the swarm mode because I think it's a unique multiplayer experience of like have some people control zombies, some people try to survive and then take turns. I've been really enjoying the game, and I would recommend trying it out, especially if you have Game Pass, because it's free.
Can I piggyback off of that? I think co-op makes it really fun. If you have a squad of 4 is fantastic, but even just another person, I think that can really improve the experience.
Do not play that game if you are by yourself. that is a
It's not worth $60 if you're playing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Also, if you've never done it before, Game Pass has like the $1 like for 1 month and then 2 months free. That's what I did. I got like 3 months for like $1, and it's on Game Pass for free. So I'm renting that game for $1, and that's totally worth it. But I wouldn't pay $60 for it.
no, definitely not. But yeah, for what you get with Game Pass, fantastic deal. Mine's probably a little more niche, sort of. I mean, like it's a game that actually just came out yesterday. It's Forza Horizon 5, which is really fun. I've been enjoying it a lot. But what I recommend doing is it's also specific if you're playing it on PC because it makes it a little bit better. But the soundtrack in that game is just kind of lacking. Like there's not a lot of songs, and the songs that are there are just like sort of pumped up dance beats, and that gets really old after a while when you're driving the open world. I'm like, this sucks. So what I did was I turned off the radio. I did like a task manager thing, and then I turned on Spotify, and I was just controlling it from my phone. So it was almost like it was playing through my speakers like it was the radio in the car, and I was controlling it with my phone. So it almost added to the immersion. It was really fun.
That's really cool.
Also going to piggyback off yours. If you're on Xbox, you can go into the settings of the game and turn the music all the way down, and then open the Spotify app on your Xbox, and it will play music over top of the game.
Oh, well, that's perfect. Yeah. So no matter what you have it for, I guess. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay. I was just gonna say, I remember doing that when we were kids. When we were playing like Halo multiplayer, we would put on the soundtrack to not listen to Halo and just jam out or we're killing each other.
That was when you had to burn CDs. We're like, oh my God, we have 10 songs on our 360. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I remember we would play what was it, Force Unleashed, and we would turn on like Soldier Boy. This dates us so much, but
Yeah. Yo, we'd throw a stormtrooper off the map.
no, it was surprising how well it's synced up. It's like how Colin figured out that you can do trap music over top planet Earth, and it's fucking awesome.
That's our bonus recommendation. If you haven't seen it, just put on any trap playlist and any Planet Earth episode, and it syncs up pretty well.
Yeah, no, turn off the music for Planet Earth and just or whatever sound is coming out, and then just play trap music. It works every time, and we've tried it at least 20 times.
Yeah, there's some times where it syncs up in just the best way possible.
Yeah. Like Chris said, it's too good. Like we've found something that might break the world, I think.
You broke the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. We figured it out. Ones and zeros, baby. That's all we're seeing. But yeah, on that note, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank Joey and Chris for being on again. We always appreciate it. I really enjoyed this episode a lot. I love doing those tier lists. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more. We do this every week, sometimes not if we're feeling lazy. But we try and keep it consistent. And if you wanted to, leave a comment, if you want us to talk about something else, let us know. If you want to be on the show, also leave a comment. We love having new guests and we love getting fresh takes on everything. So but other than that, we'll see you next week, guys. And we appreciate you sticking to the end. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.